the right way to charge your phone. If your phone battery is draining too fast and barely holding up, that might be your fault. You've probably been charging it wrong this whole time. Modern smartphones use lithium-ion batteries that charge fast but also get used up quickly because of the sheer amount of mobile activity they power. People tend to drain their phone batteries before plugging them in overnight. Fortunately, most are equipped with chips that protect against overcharging. Still, it's unwise to leave a device plugged once its battery is full, since trickle charges can heat up the phone, stressing and wearing down the battery. Experts recommend charging the phone before it empties completely and not bringing it to a full charge. Plugging it in occasionally throughout the day ensures the battery retains its capacity longer. Batteries also despise both extreme heat and extreme cold, so make sure it's not exposed to either. Of course, they will conk out eventually, but it's always nice to prolong that lifespan and save a buck or two. Here are other things you should probably know about your phone.
You could be spreading disease by using your cell phone in the bathroom. Bacteria found in restrooms can be transferred from hands to cell phones if you're not careful. According to hygiene experts, wiping your butt, then touching your phone, or really anything else, can lead to the spread of Salmonella, E. coli, and C. difficile. You might as well not even wash your hands. Smartphones, the 21st century drug. Smartphone addiction has escalated to the point that some of us are experiencing nomophobia, the fear of being separated from our phones even in important settings, such as meetings. Like opioid addiction, this addiction can be explained in terms of neuroscience. When we receive a notification on our phone, the neurons in the ventral tegmental area of our brain become excited. This excitation generates an electrical signal called an action potential, which travels to a neuron's presynaptic terminal in the area of our brain called the nucleus accumbens. The action potential leads to the opening of calcium channels. Calcium ions diffuse into the neuron, causing vesicles to fuse to the neuron's membrane and to release dopamine molecules, which diffuse into the synapse. Dopamine molecules bind to receptors on the postsynaptic neuron, causing sodium channels to open. Sodium ion diffusion causes the neuron to become more positive, but not enough to generate an action potential. Dopamine molecules left in the synapse are degraded by enzymes, reabsorbed by dopamine transporters, or diffuse away. This is what happens in a non-addicted smartphone user. In an addicted smartphone user, the neurons become excited, generating an action potential that travels to the nucleus accumbens in the same way. However, a study suggests that addicted users have fewer dopamine transporters. As a result, dopamine stays in the synapse longer and continues binding to receptors. Increased binding opens more sodium channels for a longer time, increasing sodium diffusion into the postsynaptic neuron, which becomes positive enough to generate an action potential. Dopamine is the basis of our smartphone addiction because it stimulates our seeking behavior. In this case, we seek likes, followers, and messages because they provide a rewarding feeling of validation and belonging. These rewarding interactions serve as positive reinforcement, strengthening our desire to seek out even more from our smartphones. In other words, our addiction is a vicious cycle, and it seems we'll never get enough of our precious phones.
California warns about potential risk from cell phone usage. Your phone is giving you brain cancer. Actually, it probably isn't, but it may be. The California Department of Public Health released guidelines on how to reduce exposure to radio frequency energy released by cell phones, despite the lack of hard evidence that exposure poses any health risks. Some studies have suggested that long-term use of smartphones could be linked to brain or salivary gland cancer, low sperm count, and headaches. The guidelines suggest avoiding holding your phone to your head when talking on it. Send texts instead of talking. Avoid carrying your phone in your pocket, bra, or belt holster. Carry it in a bag or a backpack. They also suggested avoiding using your phone while it's sending high levels of radio frequency energy, such as when you're driving, streaming content, or when your signal is weak. Some apps might be tracking what you watch on TV. Hundreds of smartphone apps could be tracking their users' television viewing habits. Via a device's microphone, many apps reportedly use advanced automated content recognition software by company Alfonso to listen in on users' television viewing habits. According to the New York Times, Alfonso does this by pinpointing audio signals in television ads or shows. The company tracks this data for advertisers. Alfonso Chief Executive Ashish Chordia says users are made aware of the technology and that it complies with federal trade guidelines. The software can also track what films people watch at the cinema based on audio snippets provided to the company from film studios. The company also gathers data from TiVo, televisions, and streaming devices from other manufacturers. This, the Times reports, can be combined with characteristics such as age, sex, and income via large data companies.